What's up, family, and welcome back to the channel. About a month ago, actually, maybe a little bit longer than a month ago, I started a new segment on the channel called Christians Who Talk to Themselves. Now, I did kind of do that tongue in cheek, almost just being petty a little bit, but I did have some real ideas behind that segment, and that is just to really expose how a lot of Christians, especially the ones who jump in my comments, are absolutely incapable of having conversation, which is why I don't engage them in conversation. But also, I do remind people that for me, leaving Christianity was getting up from the children's table. For me to engage Christians in my comments would be like getting back, going back to the children's table. Why would I do that? I don't want that fruit cup. I'm not doing this. I don't want that juice box. No, I'm not here for the yogurt, or the Go-Gurt or whatever else, or the Scooby-Doo, Flintstone, vitamins, whatever. I don't want to be at the children's table, right? So I started this segment to just kind of highlight the behaviors of some Christians, just to kind of remind some of my more faithful subscribers of why I don't engage. And it is a question, and it's a valid question for many people. Well, Durante, why don't you engage with them? Because from my perspective, and I'm not saying this is factual, I'm just saying this is my biased, subjective perspective. From my biased, subjective perspective, these people are 100% delusional. I'm not about to have a conversation with a delusional person. I'm sorry. That's just not who I am. I've done that, for nearly 20, 28 years. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm done with that. That was a waste of my time. So I started this kind of segment to kind of, prop up why I don't do it, just to kind of expose, to highlight, to yeah, highlight is a good word, to highlight some real-time examples of why I don't engage these folk. Well, we're gonna do it again today. We're gonna run it back, we have another one. But before we do, if you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that alert notification bell, consider joining our community, consider volunteering for our community, even consider financially supporting this little community of ours, and check out our merch because we have some of the dopest merch in the game. And one day, you're gonna see me wearing some of it. Okay, so, boy, for those of you who don't know, one of my side hobbies is computer programming. So, what I decided to do was to create a bot on my channel. This bot only responds to flagged accounts, which means my bot searches my comments pretty much all day. And anytime there's a person who has already been flagged with trollish tendencies, the bot automatically responds to their comments with poor fella. I know. I thought it was kind of neat. Um, Now, the bot is not perfect. So, some of you out there who likely had some decent comments, nice comments, maybe even loving comments, you may have once or twice inadvertently got a poor fella. You know, I'm working on the bot. We're teaching him. We're raising him up, train him up in the way that he should go, and in the end, he won't depart from it. But I put this to kind of take out to kind of save me time because I am fairly engaging in my comments, which means obviously I'm not going to really have a lot of long conversations because life is busy. But and I do get a lot of comments, and I try to respond to all of my comments, especially those who are commenting in good faith. So and that does take up a considerable amount of time. Once I realized that there were also a bunch of trolls in the comments, and I was like, well, I still want to be committed to responding to them too. But at the same token, I don't have the bandwidth to respond to ridiculousness over and over again. So I created a bot who could do it for me. The bot measures the comments, checks the commenter, sees if this person is flagged, also does, oh man, I can't think of the word right now. But it also has a way to sentiment. It also measures the sentiment of the comment. And especially if it's a person who's not already been flagged, it measures the sentiment of the comment and then alerts me if it thinks that the comment is negative and whether or not this person needs to be flagged. Okay. So if the person needs to be flagged, okay, I'll get the alert. I'll look at the comment. I will determine if I agree with its sentiment measurement, negative, positive, whatever. If it is negative, I will go ahead and agree to flag the account. Now, after I've agreed to flag the account, the bot then, without any intervention from me, will now know anytime this subscriber comments, respond, poor fella. Yeah, respond, poor fella. It still measures sentiment with each time, just in case someone who started as a troll somehow gets saved by the content and comes to the light of critical thinking and put something positive on there, then my bot will try to catch that. And before responding, poor fellow, will try to send me an alert to see if this person still needs to be flagged or if they can be temporarily removed from the flag. All right. So obviously, this saves me a little time by me not having to engage um, those negative comments at all. And let me take that a step further. It doesn't just save me time; it also protects my mental space. Um, yeah, if y'all have been with me in some of the Sunday sessions, you know that I'm not the type of person who likes engaging um, with things that are contrarian just for the hell of it. That's just kind of a waste of my time. And after over 2 decades being a Christian, I really don't have any more time to waste. So every now and then, you get these believers who jump in my comments and have full on arguments with these bots. These bots who I remind you, or this bot who I remind you is only saying 2 words over and over and over again. Poor fella. The amount of Christians who get in my comments and argue with a bot would be hilarious if it wasn't indicative of a greater societal issue. Number one, recognizing when you're not in a real fucking conversation. Number two, recognizing when someone's literally not interested in engaging you. And some of you can probably remember when I first started sharing content on the channel, I used to be very clear about that. I was very vocal, very verbal, audible, even letting people know that, listen, if you are a believer, I have no interest engaging you. There are plenty of atheists out here who want to. There are plenty of atheists out here who want to debate you. There are plenty of atheists out here who want to get in a conversation with you so they can call out your fallacies and so they can call out your delusions. I don't have that need. I'd much prefer to stand on the other side of the street and point and laugh. Sorry. No, but I do kind of mean that. I think delusional people should be treated as delusional people, as a warning to other people that that shit is delusional. Otherwise, we continue to reinforce these societal ideas that this type of behavior is acceptable. And I want you to understand that, or at least, I don't give a damn if you understand or not. That's not my goal. But my understanding is that these behaviors are harmful, and not only harmful, man, they're indicative of greater issues. You know, we wonder why we have so many issues with things like toxic masculinity. And in these cases, you're literally telling somebody, "Hey, I'm not interested in a conversation with you," and they're trying to force you into the conversation. You know, there's an R word for that. I'll let you think through it. So we got a new one. We got a live one. Um, Poor buddy calls himself I'm a witness too. He's a witness too. All right. And so he's our troll of the week, troll of the month. He is our Christian who could not recognize that he was talking to himself. How appropriate that there's a Christian who has demonstrated for all of us that he doesn't know the difference between talking to someone and talking to his damn self. How appropriate. So every time he says he's talking to God, I think we'd probably want to question it because this brother doesn't recognize when he's talking to himself. All right, so let's read what I'm a Witness 2 has to say, and then we'll jump up out of here. I'm a Witness 2 says, and by the way, this is a response to my recent video on Christianity is not monotheistic. He says, that's what you say when you want them to sound like one person. He put that in quotation marks. I reckon he's trying to quote me. He says, you must have meant one being, not one person, right? Earlier, you said Yahweh is 3 different personalities. Are they different or distinct? Okay. I know some of you would say, oh no, this is a harmless question. When my bot sent me the alert, because this was a new commenter, when my bot sent me the alert, I immediately recognized that this is not in good faith. This is not a conversation that I want to entertain. And let me kind of walk you through my thinking there. You must have meant that. That's the first red flag for me. Who the fuck are you to tell me what I must have meant? You know what I'm saying? Like here are things that slow people don't get, that some of us get very quickly, is that you may not know you don't know me, but I know you don't know me. You know what I'm saying? And so to make a statement such as you must have meant is a statement that requires some type of pre-existing knowledge of the person that you're talking to. And you have none. So you must have meant one being, not one person. No, sir, I meant what the fuck I said. So that was my first clue. And then right, which is like insisting that I must have meant it some way that they understand it. Well, see, that's something that children do. When children are incapable of understanding a complex subject or even a contrary subject, what they do is they conform that subject to their understanding. So everybody else is wrong, I'm right. I don't engage children in that way. Earlier, you said Yahweh, he kept the vowels out, so that already tells me a little something about his belief system, is 3 different personalities. Okay, so let's walk this back now. You must have meant one being, not one person. You said earlier Yahweh is 3 different personalities. See, this person's statement so far is completely incongruent. Now, just because this person doesn't realize that doesn't mean I have to not realize that. No, I'm sorry, but it's clear to me that this person is one crayon short of a Crayola box. Okay. Um, personalities, and then here it is. Are they different or are they distinct? All right, so there's some problems here. I pointed out some of the most obvious ones, but I want to point out some that other people wouldn't even, well, some people would. Yeah, many, actually, I got a handful of people who'd call out this bullshit immediately. You must have meant one being, not one person. Please explain the difference. And when I say the difference, I mean the difference in context. How does changing the word from being to person change the context at all? If it is 2 beings, it is still not one being, therefore not monotheistic. Hello. Oh my goodness. And just to be clear, person is a word that is typically referenced for or isolated to humans. But hey, are they different or are they distinct? Now, I thought I was tripping here. I thought I was tripping because I'm like, there's no way this person could be this slow. I'm like, no, I have to be tripping because he literally said, are they different or are they distinct? As if he's making some type of point. Like, oh my goodness. So I did something that most Christians seem to be incapable of doing. I petitioned Google, the original capital G. Different means something is not the same kind or is partly or totally unlike. Distinct means something is different in a way that can be seen, heard, smelled, or felt, or is noticeably different. So again, just like the use of the word, is it a being or is it a person? Is it different or is it distinct? Questions like this only demonstrate that the person you're talking to is incapable of understanding. Why would I engage that? All right. We'll continue a little bit because that was the first comment. So I get that little alert and I respond, "Oh yeah, definitely a troll." And so my bot goes at it. My bot says, "Poor fella." The Christian, which typically the first time they're not going to get it, right? They're not going to recognize that this is not a conversation going anywhere unless they had actually maybe done some due diligence and watched a few of my videos before they commented. But, due diligence is not something that is accustomed to believers. So he responds, "Great response." My bot responds, "Poor fella." And then one of my favorite subscribers says, "Darante LaMar, more like a delusional fella," and he's talking about the other guy. So obviously that gets a love for me because I do love it when my when my subscribers do jump in and engage these people because hey, they have time for it and they want the smoke. So go for it. So he says, "Darante LaMar, I asked a serious question." The serious question he's talking about is the question that we just dissected and determined that is not actually a question at all. It's just a bunch of words he put together, and apparently he's not smart enough to know better. But he said he asked a serious question. See, just because you say it's a serious question doesn't mean it's actually a serious question. In the same way that just because you say that God is real doesn't mean that God is real. What people don't understand about believers and why I am so resistant to engaging many of them is because most of them believe that you can call those things that be not as though they were, which means they absolutely know most times that what they're saying are not in alignment with reality and they don't care. Many of these people are delusional on purpose. He said, "Did you misspeak or was that what you meant?" What I said was what I meant. The God which, okay, let's see here. This one, okay, I was just making sure it wasn't long. The God which Christians present is the Trinity. Number one, all Christians do not believe in the Trinity. Some Christians believe in a triune God. Some Christians believe that these are three different people altogether. Christians are not monolithic, nor are they monotheistic. So anytime a Christian decides to speak for all Christians, I already know where the intellectual bar hangs for this person, and I am uninterested in having that conversation. Trinity isn't three persons in one person because such would be a contradiction. Again, I don't think this person knows what contradiction means. That's not an appropriate use of that word. Three persons in one person would not be a contradiction. Contradicting to what? All right, so it's presented as one being, three persons. Fact number two, it's not presented at all. The Trinity does not exist in Scripture. The word Trinity does not appear. It is a concept that was created long after. All right. They aren't different, but rather distinct. We've Googled the definitions of those words due to the fact that they possess the same being. They possess the same being, or are they possessed by the same being? Very interesting. Could you clarify if you smoke? Sorry, I do smoke. But could you clarify if you misspoke or if that was what you meant? I said it. It's what I meant. So here's this other thing that I want to highlight about believers. And it's not even just believers. There are many people in the secular community who do this as well, and I give them a royal fuck you as well. He says, could you clarify if you misspoke or if that's what you meant? What he's saying is, I just can't stomach the fact that somebody else has an opinion or a conclusion that's different from mine. Can you please make me feel better by telling me you think exactly what I think and tell me that you accidentally said that? This is a fucking child. I don't engage conversations with people such as this. And so then he asked my my other subscriber, can you answer my question? Because he's a fucking kid. He's like a kid. Someone please answer my question. Mommy, daddy, please help. You know, I know you guys are seeing another side of me right now, but honestly, stuff like this is sickening to me. And this is why I expose it. And so he continues. Darante LaMar, well, it appears you won't clarify what you said. It's too bad. I figured that you would at least have class and dignity. Apparently, you're no different than the others. Proverbs 18:17 ESV, you know, cause magic. And so he said, I won't clarify what it said, and that's sad. So watch this. Because I will not engage a conversation with an absolute random fucking stranger on my YouTube page, I have no class and dignity. Thankfully, I consider this person to be delusional and don't hold any of their words with a grain of salt. This is actually my first time reading through this, and it's kind of funny. All right, so can you imagine how I responded to that? Poor fella. That I love the bot, right? So he gives me some more magical spells. He quotes from Proverbs 13:6. Let's quote magic. Every prudent man acts with knowledge, but a fool flaunts his folly. Isn't that so appropriate? Isn't that so appropriate for I'm a witness to? Every prudent man acts with knowledge. Let me give you an example of a prudent man acting with knowledge. A prudent man realizes when a conversation is a dead end. He realizes well in advance, before even engaging the conversation, that this conversation is going to be a dead end. And a prudent man finds a way to engage that conversation for the sake of the algorithm without having to engage the conversation at all. A prudent man goes and develops a bot and assigns that bot to handle those tasks for the sake of the algorithm. Thank you for that little Bible study lesson I'm a witness to. But a fool flaunts his folly. I'm a witness. You're not listening to your magical words, buddy. So my bot responds, poor fella. All right. I'm a witness is really getting it now because guess what he does? He responds, poor fella. And guess what? It continues like that. Poor fella, poor fella, poor fella. He's going back and forth with a bot. All right. And then I think Hambone said something to him, but for some reason YouTube sometimes hides comments. And then he responds to Hambone, he can't. He's too arrogant to answer questions or bother with dealing with critique. Oh no, poor soul. This isn't critique. No, no. And just like let's put some things in context here, right? I'm an author. I write books. Other authors do the same. Books get reviewed and critiqued all the time. How many authors do you see going into their review section and arguing with the people who had a critique? See, here's the thing. When you truly respect critique, you don't have to have a comeback for it. What you're wanting is not for me to accept your critique. What you're wanting for me to do is to argue with you. And unfortunately, I don't have the time for that. And that argument, here's something that I know that you don't know I'm a witness to, is that arguing with you won't do a damn thing for my life. And while you may be accustomed to wasting your time and doing things that are not beneficial for you, I am not. Okay, so So it has nothing to do with arrogance, which that doesn't bother me. You can literally call me any name in the world, it won't bother me. But every Christian resorts to this. Every Christian in my comments who do not get the response that they want, they always subject themselves to denigrative behavior. Oh, you don't have any class. Oh, you don't have any dignity. Oh, you're arrogant. I would be offended if I didn't think you were delusional. And actually, truth be told, even if I did, think that you were sane in the mind, I still wouldn't be offended because your words mean absolutely shit to me. I don't believe in magical words anymore, so nobody's words have any control over me. Point blank. Period. Positive, negative. Nope. Actually, I wrote a song a few years ago thinking about producing it as a country song, but it's called "I Can Do Proud All on My Own." It's like I don't really need congratulations. I don't need so proud you made it. I don't need any of that. I can do proud all on my own. So if you're gonna be something, I'd prefer to have cooperation than congratulations and sentiment and stuff like that. All right, so that was my little rabbit trail. Big point there is that words don't bother me, one way or another. They're words. So and then he responds to me again, poor fella. We're going back and forth that or to the bot. And then he responds to Hambone apparently, and then does the Proverbs magical scripture again. Oh, and then he adds another one. The one who states his case first seems right until the other comes and examines him. Again, magical words. The thing that the sad thing is here that the only thing that what he doesn't realize that he's demonstrating to those of us who are sane is that you lock yourself into whatever's written in this book. And like, why would you quote scripture to an atheist who has a whole channel filled with content of saying that he has absolutely no respect or regard for scripture? Why would you think that scripture would do anything? Again, delusional. All right. And I make no apologies about saying that. Delusion is delusion. Call a spade a fucking spade. So poor fella, poor fella, poor fella, poor fella, poor fella, poor fella. 19 minutes ago, poor fella. And if I refresh the page, you know what you're going to see? You're going to see a comment from my bot that says, poor fella. This Christian is literally talking to himself and doesn't realize it. He believes that he is having a conversation with a person. Like I said, this would be funny if this wasn't sad, because he is not alone. There are plenty of more who are like this. People who can't take no for an answer. People who cannot respect the fact that somebody else has a different worldview than they do. People who feel like it is absolutely necessary to harass anybody who feels differently than they do. And that is what I consider that. Harassment. That's why I don't engage. I don't engage with people like that. Nor will I ever, because it is a waste of my fucking time. But to make a video out of it, share a little bit about it on the channel, might actually help the algorithm. So if you enjoyed this, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that alert notification bell, and consider joining our wonderfully loving community. Aren't we so loving? But yes, this is love. Believe it or not, this is definitely an act of love. I love the world so much. For Darante so loved the world that he calls out bullshit when he sees it. All right, y'all. I'll holler at you later. Until next time, keep rising, stay progressive, and stay beautiful. I'll holler at you later.